I realized you might be one of the most emotionally stable people I know.
That's good.
No matter how many things on your hand, you are dealing with all these tricky things. When people ask you a question, you always have such a good manner and patience to answer this question and make sure the people get taken care of. Did you get trained for this? Hi everyone, this is Aubrey. Welcome back to my channel. Today I invited Vitor to the 20 people I met in Haas series. Vitor is not studying in Haas, but he plays a very important role in my experience in Haas. He is the founder of Parrot Trips, and he organized our MBA students trip to Brazil. And today is the last day, and we are sitting on the rooftop of Manas Hotel, and I personally have such a great experience with Vitor. I was impressed by his energy, his passion, his patience from organizing the trip, dealing with the finance and guiding us for the tourism. I want to hear more story about you. I'm so glad that you accept my invite.
I'm pleased to be here. Thank you, Aubrey, for the opportunity. I'm really happy what you said actually about the trip and about how you experienced Brazil. And I think that's the way we started the business. So introduce myself. I'm co-founder of Parrot Trips. I used to work as a consultancy. I'm a mechanical engineer as a background, worked in financial market as well. So I did a bunch of things, and we decided to open this business to bring Brazil to the map of international travelers. So that's what we're doing here. And by the words you said, I think we're doing the right thing. Yeah. Let's keep pushing.
Great. So Vitor, besides the trip with Haas, I heard you are also working with multiple other business schools. Who are they?
So MIT, Sloan is one of them. We have Booth, Ross, Fuqua, Harvard.
Wow.
Yeah, we're working with some.
You covered all the best business school in US.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I think we're pretty much in every EV league, I would say now, and we're expanding as well.
Yeah.
So, and there are other programs beside the MBA. I know the MPA, the people working with the public administration. It's a good public as well, so we're expanding it a bit.
Nice. Last night we have that dinner, right? I thought it's just a regular dinner, but I saw the decoration, the balloon, the DJ. And actually those things make this trip different from any other tour trip we have.
That is great.
So you make us feel welcomed, and you make us feel we've been taken care of.
That is great. That's the idea. Even the thing, like even the menu of the restaurant, we picked it.
Oh.
So it seemed to be the normal operation of the restaurant, but we selected to have options for everyone and things like that. So
but
it is a bit different.
How you pack all this stuff in your mind?
Yeah.
Feel I need this when I'm doing the management. So the manager, most of the time, they don't do the execution, but they need to take care of all these details to make sure and the people make the power more than individually.
Yes.
So where did that come from?
I would say I learned most of it in my previous jobs, especially in Mercado Libre, that I had to manage a lot of people.
Oh, you were a manager before?
Yes, yes. So I was a manager of 45 people in 4 different countries. So I had supervisors that were also managing people. And my way of thinking is, as you said, like my time is never going to be, never going to work more than all my team working together. So the best I could do is make sure that everybody was happy and knew their goals. So I think my primary job as a manager back then was to align everything we needed to our team. And once we do that, then I can think of, okay, now what can I do with my spare time? Because then we have like a bunch of people working happy towards our goals, and then I can make sure we're going to that direction.
Since you previously had a really good job, I guess the salary, the payment should be good. But you decided to give up all those and starting from zero into an industry. I don't know if you were familiar with this industry before, but you are doing execution right now. Even the small things like arrange the drivers for the airport transportation, the meal plan. Do you feel, I don't know, like from being just a manager, just control the people, right?
Yeah.
To doing all this by yourself.
Yeah.
How do you feel that transition?
That is a good question. I think I can also put some of my background here in the answer of your question as well. But I used to work in a finance market. Then I went to consultancy. Then I went to some startups. So I think you get the feeling of, okay, I know how to do these high level things, working with CEOs, doing presentations and stuff. Then when you go to the startup world, it's like, I need to take things out of the paper and make them happy. So I think I made this transition. In last year, I took a gap year and I decided to be a mechanic in Australia. I don't know if you knew that already. So I took 1 year out to do something completely different, to try out something like, oh, if I'm not getting these high paying jobs, but I'm doing something that I love to people that I love, how would that work? So I decided to test that out in Australia for a while. And then I realized, okay, that is something nice, but it's a hobby.
Yeah.
I need to do something much more fulfilling for my brain as well. And that's how the idea of Parrot came up.
Wow.
So when we're doing all these jobs, all these small tasks, I would say, I think it's for us to feel like me and my partner, my business partner back there that is currently in Rio, we're figuring out how to scale at least some of it afterwards. So we're all suffering or feeling the pains of the operations to try to transform it in a process, and then we can do some product to sort it out afterwards.
Yeah, that's amazing. I hear a few things from what you shared. The first thing, you are not afraid of starting from zero.
No, definitely not.
And the second thing, you are experimenting your life. You want to find all your potential and the possibilities.
Yep.
And that's the most people, they not brave enough to do it, to give up what they have and just find a new opportunity. And I think another thing is, yes, you can work always with the high level, but where that capability come from? I think it's come from the fundamental things. If you know how to operate the basics, and then you will understand how the business run, what we can improve, how to, remove the unnecessary process, and then talk to the high level and make the sufficient decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I felt like when I was working at Bain or the high paying jobs, I would say, when you don't know the operations enough, you're missing something.
Yeah.
So even when I was in Mercado Libre talking to the managing directors or something about the numbers of the operations, it's completely different when you say, oh, have you been there and see what they're doing or what the pains they are going through? Sometimes we're talking about, for example, third part the entire operation of customer experience, but the system that they were working on was really, really bad. So how can you turn into a third party something if the system that you provide even to your employees is not good enough? So the pain is not the cost only. To summarize all these pains in one thing is, if you're working in a corporate job, make sure you know what is happening in the operation as well. Take 1 day out of, I don't know, a month or maybe less, 1 per 3 months. And then you're going to have a different perspective of what is happening on the ground. It's going to help your job and it's going to help the whole company as well.
That makes a lot of sense. Even though you mentioned that starting from the basics very important, but have you ever feel lost when doing this? For example, at a moment you are scheduling a driver and you're thinking, why I'm doing this? Why I'm just consuming my time to do this easy stuff? Have you ever got lost?
I think that's that's why I started the business with someone else. So I always had the desire to start something new. But when I met Becker, my current partner, that's when, okay, we got to know each other. It is really a dating process, I would say. So we talked once, and then 1 month later, we talked again, and then 15 days afterwards. So we started to build this relationship.
Yeah.
And then when all those things happen, it's pretty much like giving him a call or sharing some ideas.
Yeah.
And then you have someone to back you up, and this trust relationship as well. Like, oh, I believe you're going to do the best, do your own thing. So I think this partnership relationship really works and helps in those situations.
I feel it's even more difficult than relationship. You need to do some work together, and maybe after a few failures, and then you collaborate each other really good.
Yeah.
I think it also applies to my work as well. I totally get connected to it. So how did you find your partner?
So we had a friend in common.
Oh, okay.
And then this friend in common said, oh, you are the only two crazy people that I know talking about tourism.
Yeah.
Especially in the VC world, that people are talking about getting money,
AI.
investment, AI. So the success nowadays, I would say, in this world is to get investment. And our business doesn't have any of that. So it's more like bootstrap. So we're going to do it our own thing. It's going to grow steadily. The struggles that we have is the operation. So it's another thing. And we were the only crazy ones willing to do something different, I would say. So that's how we got connected. I wouldn't say it's an instant connection. So we started to build it from scratch, as I said. And then we got up, and now we're really good together and stuff. We had our struggles, of course. We had some fights, but it's all in a good way, I would say.
People telling me it's better you build a startup because your mission, instead of thinking about what makes most money, what gives you the most power.
Yeah.
The mission or the passion. So is that your passion on tourism?
Yeah, I would say there are a couple of things that we wanted to achieve with Parrot Trips. Who doesn't love to travel? I think that's the first one. But when we saw the gap of Brazil in the tourism industry, so we went to why Brazil is not in the map of international travelers. So that's why we started with the mission, putting Brazil in the map for international travelers.
Oh, that's your long-term vision, change the map of the traveling in the world.
Putting Brazil in the map, because currently a lot of people know about it, but nobody really consider it coming here.
Yeah.
So that's the shift we want to make. So another thing that we thought about tourism as well is we believe it can change people. So we had some benchmarks or some TED Talks all over the world, we watched it. And there is one person doing tourism, for example, in Israel and Palestine. And they bring together one person from each country to give to the tourists there their own perspective. So when you have two people from different fighting sides talking together and seeing their point of views, it's you see that in the end it's all about people. So why we should fight? And so there is all this great thing that I believe the tourism can bring, that is connecting to other people. Once you know the other reality, why you should fight them or do something bad is
I think last night you mentioned that triangle thing.
Yeah, we say you, other people, and nature. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you connect with yourself, with others, and also with the nature.
Is that the impact you want to make for the people you bring into the project?
Exactly. So when you think about our travelers, we want to have some okay, now you know other culture, you know other people, you connect to your colleagues and connect to new people, and you always bring something or some thoughts for yourself. Because you don't only see the nature, you see the whole impact and everything like that. So yes, that's what we want for the travelers to take back. And we do have we started with MBA trips right now, MBA tracks, but we do have a roadmap of other things we want to do.
Yeah. And
as nobody is looking to the tourism industry, once we started it, we saw potential in a lot of different things that once we grow, it is in our roadmap to take that in as well. So we're making some jokes with my partner that we can have a lot of birds. So parrots is the first one of the birds that we're going to have in the tourism industry. And we can start other business units with other birds that we can grow and scale.
And why did you decide starting with MBA program?
I think it was our connection that we had. So it was, as we say in consultancy, the low-hanging fruit. Because a lot of my colleagues or a lot of my friends went to MBA. So it was really easy to connect. The potential was there. The need was there already. And we heard a lot oh, I'm considering a trip to Brazil, but I don't know who is going to do it for us. I said, okay, we're here, let's do it. and then it was pretty much instant.
What's more is like MBA students, they are not just the normal students. They normally have a multiple years work experience, and then they decide to get another level of their career or make the pivot of their life. They go back to the school. So they have the money, they have the passion, and they have the courage to exploring world.
Yeah.
So I think that's the perfect start point to have.
And during the MBA, you also have the time.
Yeah.
Because when you're working, you don't have you have the money and you have the energy, you don't have the time.
Exactly.
During MBA, you can also have the time in that equation. So I think it's a sweet spot for people to start to travel.
Back to you talking about your mission to bring the Brazil to the world map for tourism. I remember you told me you studied your undergraduate in UK.
Yes.
And then you decided to come back to Brazil after graduating. Do you have a deep connection with your country? That's why you decided to come back to the country and make this difference or this contribution?
Yeah, I think like every time that I was abroad, so I lived in UK, I lived in Australia, I missed the culture of Brazil. But I think when I was in UK, I didn't really knew that was what I was missing. But when I was in Australia, I was older enough or mature enough to have the feeling, okay, that's what I'm missing. And that's what I like, that's what makes me really happy and energized. And then it what clicked me. So why don't I show people this instead of running away from it for other reasons? So that's why I decided to come back and stay here. And yeah,
that makes sense. I think when you take a gap and you go on travel, and it makes you think.
Yes.
So I do think like give yourself some time, go some countries, and just sitting there, think what do I really want, and then like you said, you come up with, I have a connection with my country. I want to do something. Maybe this is my life meaning, and you might never think about this in your normal life.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would always recommend taking a gap somehow to rethink. It's like when you're out traveling or not traveling, like I think MBA does this as well, right?
Yeah.
When people are going to MBA, as you said, they're maybe shifting careers, but they are thinking about what is my next step. So just going out of the autopilot, I think it's something really, really good. And there are some ways of doing it, of course. Some people take a gap year or take some time out. Some people do the MBA. So there are multiple ways of doing it, but it's definitely worth it. So get out of the autopilot, take a moment to think what you like, what you don't like, why you're doing what you're doing. And I think it's really helpful for your future life.
Makes sense. I want to shift the conversation a little bit to yourself about your personality. I realize you might be one of the most emotionally stable people I know. No matter how many things on your hand, you are dealing with all these tricky things. When people ask you a question, you always have such a good manner and patience to answer this question and make sure that people get taken care of. Did you get trained for this? Where did that come from?
Yeah. So I think some experiences in my life made me the way I am right now. One of them, curiosity. My university in Brazil is a military one. So I went through the military program as well. So it was a really good experience, I would say, to handle pressure and to handle other things.
So you did get trained.
Yeah, I got some training in it. But they don't really train you of how to control your emotions. You're pretty much put under pressure, and then with your colleagues, you can get out of it.
Okay.
And when I was in consultancy afterwards, you receive a lot of pressure as well. But when I got older and I realized, like, what is this pressure for, to please someone? And then I realized that, okay, all the pressure, all the structure that we have nowadays, it's more you suffering with the decision than you have to. So I also study some spiritual things, and one of them is called Vedanta. It comes from India.
Okay.
All the studies and everything. And they say that all the pain that you go through, you need to go through, but all the suffering, it's optional. So, for example, if you hit your knee, of course, it's gonna be sore afterwards and everything. But if you put a lot of energy thinking about it, then you're going to suffer much more.
Yes.
So the way I think, it's okay, if it's painful, dealt with, next. So I won't see that anymore. And all the people that I interact with, so the problem you're handling, it's your problem, not theirs. So let's put that aside, talk to the people that we want to talk with, and then we can move on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, besides the mindset, like focus on solving the problem instead of focusing on the feeling of suffering, I also feel a little bit of empathy to others. Like you thinking on behalf of others. For example, even though you're busy, when they come to you for the question, you think people really need help. I help them without the additional emotion from my own trouble.
yes,
right?
Yes, we're always asking, and that includes my partner, how can we add value to that person? So it's like we want to do things to make people happy. So regardless of it's a business for us or whatever, if someone has a question, if we answer it properly, the person is going to be better and we're going to be better as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So right now you get all these successful trips and you have a really good start. What's your next step?
When we're thinking about Parrot Trips, our next step is always going to be how can we take more stuff without really needing us to do it. So it's pretty much talking about scalability.
Yes.
So we started a business that we know it's not scalable at first, but somehow we need to manage scale to do more things with the same things that we have. So that's the next things that we're thinking about. So what is the next business model that we can have or apply to have a more scalable operation?
Great. Thank you for attending this interview, and I hope that I will see you in the future and your business keep growing. Thank you.
No, thank you very much for inviting me, Aubrey. It was my pleasure. I hope you do hear from us soon, from me, from Parrot Trips. Because even though we started with Brazil, every development country can leverage the same.
Yes.
So maybe we cross each other's path in the future as well, worldwide.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.